Hey everybody, welcome back to C.Dat.Guy Review Movies. My name's Christian, and before I start, I just want to say I am very sorry for missing in action for a very long time. I took a night shift at Amazon for about 2.5 months, and that pretty much took up all my free time and energy. But thankfully, I just got a new job that pretty much gives me back my old schedule, and it seems to be perfect timing as we have some movies slowly come back into theaters, at least for now. Alright, so let's talk about Disney's latest venture. This movie was so close to coming out in theaters. I believe the premiere actually happened early in March, so there were some people who got to see it. But then the pandemic happened 2 weeks later, and then this movie got pushed to July, and then August, and then finally into September on Disney Plus. The 6 months felt like forever, but we are finally here. It's been 22 years since the original animated Disney movie hit the theaters back in 1998, and this Mulan continues Disney's live-action series. And I asked this last year during my Lion King review, and I'll ask it here again. Should Disney continue with its live-action remakes? For general audiences, I think the answer is yes, as long as the remake is exactly like the original and it's in demand. I may not have liked Lion King, but a lot of people did, and it ended up making over $1.6 billion. And the same formula worked for Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast, as they made $1 billion. But for other movies like Dumbo or the Maleficent series, the formula doesn't work as much. I mean, I already know some people who didn't want to watch this because they removed Mushu, or they removed the songs, the lead actress stands against Hong Kong, and because they filmed in Xinjiang. But for me, I am just here to review the content. So without further ado, here's my review of Mulan 2020. Let's start with the acting. I'm not too familiar with the lead actress Liu Yifei, but apparently I saw her a long time ago in the movie The Forbidden Kingdom. She does show some range of emotion. She does smile a little bit. She does have some funny parts, but mostly she is quiet and has a blank face. The rest of the cast were pretty much supporting characters, but the first one I wanted to highlight was Tai Ma, who played Mulan's father, who I personally know as Kanto Han from the Rush Hour movies. He shows a fierceness when he's the head of the family, but also shows warmth and grace when he's trying to show love. And the relationship between him and Mulan is definitely better than the animated movie, because he shows that he truly cares about Mulan for who she truly is, rather than just care if she gets married. I will also say that the villains are a slight improvement from the original, and actually get a decent amount of screen time. Jason Scott Lee as Bori Khan was threatening, and actually had some legitimate motivation to kill the Emperor. Meanwhile, Gong Li as the Falcon Witch was an interesting counterpart dynamic to Mulan, as they seem to have the same motivations, except hers led to a dark path. Alright, so for some negatives about the movie, the first thing that caught my attention was the editing, particularly with some action scenes. While some of the battle scenes were great, others felt like it was a bit too, I want to say jump cutty. There's too much jump cutting. So for example, whenever they showed Donnie Yen, when he was either fighting or sword wielding, it was a steady shot, didn't cut away from him. You could see the impact of the hits, and it felt fluid. The final fight with Mulan and Bori Khan, I felt like there were at times 7 cuts in 3 seconds, so it felt very disconnected, and it's like the hits, whenever they were given, they had no impact. And this might be a little nitpick for me, but I felt like some action sequences were either missing or cut a little short. There's a scene where Bori Khan's army is attacking the Chinese army with trebuchets, and it seems like in about 3 to 5 seconds, Mulan gets on her horse, gathers a bunch of helmets, sneaks around Bori Khan's army without anyone noticing her, sets up a bunch of helmets, and then starts firing arrows at them. If this was animated, it could probably get away with it, but since I wanted to make this more realistic, I felt like that scene was way too fast. Another example of this is when Mulan talks to the Falcon Witch for the last time. The Falcon Witch flies away, and Mulan exits the Emperor's palace, and it cuts to the Falcon Witch for maybe 2 seconds, but when it cuts back to Mulan, she is somehow already climbed up on the roof. For me, you could at least show a pathway up there, I mean, that would make her look better rather than just showing her up there already. But then again, that's just me. And when I said that the rest of the cast were supporting characters, what I really meant was that they kind of just blended into the background. The live action versions of Yao, Ling, and Chin Po are in this movie, but they're not really distinguishable from each other, and I can only tell them apart when they reference specific lines from a song from the animated movie. And the only really distinguishable character was Yosan An, who played Chen, who was Mulan's love interest, and it's because he's the one who spends the most time interacting with Mulan. You know, so much for replacing Mushu, because, he's not in the movie, but there is a phoenix in this movie that kind of shows up when it feels like it. I understand it's like an important symbol for the movie, but for me, the phoenix didn't really do anything. The last criticism I have is up for debate, and it could be a possible spoiler, so I guess if you want to go ahead and skip it, you can skip it right at this timestamp, but here's your 5-second warning. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In this version, we see from the very beginning of this movie that Mulan has this thing called Qi, and according to her father, it is what gives her a warrior's power. But she has to hide this power so that she becomes a good wife. During one of the training sequences, she unleashes it, and Donnie Yen detects it, but she continues to hide it. It is only after she fights the Falcon Witch that she doesn't hide this power anymore and uses it in battle. And this is where I have an issue. It seems that Disney can't help but repeat this over and over and over. You know, I'm on board with women being strong. I have no issues with that. But it seems like when Disney tries to do it, it's like, yes, women can be strong, but only if we give them a power. I'm sorry to say, but being powerful isn't a personality trait. They did this with Rey in the new Star Wars trilogy. They definitely did this with Captain Marvel. And now they did this with Mulan. The problem with being already powerful from the beginning is that there is no room for character growth. And for Mulan, we already know that she's loyal to her family, brave on the battlefield, and true to herself. But the only reason why she doesn't believe she's true to herself is because she has to hide her chi. But when she reveals it, it doesn't change anything. In the animated version, it shows that she's just a regular woman who is unconventional and actually initially doesn't know how to fight. And we see her struggle, but also we see that she slowly proves to be just as tough as the men and is actually quite clever with her battle techniques. And so from there, we see growth, whereas in the live action, she's just already powerful but has to hide it. And even in the most emotional part, or I guess what I felt was supposed to be the emotional part of the live action, is when she, prefers to be executed. And there's actually threads like, the next time you come back to the army, you will be executed. Yeah, that kind of gets brushed over in a matter of minutes. And so there's no real stakes or consequences. From the beginning, I really like the cinematography. There was a lot of vibrant colors all around, and I like the look of the landscapes. It probably would have felt much grander on the big screen, so from a visual standpoint, it had its own style. And I appreciated that they really focused on the war aspect of the movie, and that it wasn't a complete copy and paste from the original. Even from the villain side, the action sequences were nice to see. And though they removed the musical aspect of the movie, I still like that they incorporated some of the original songs into the musical score. And though there were some good character moments and motivations, I felt like it could have been really improved upon. The potential was there, but ultimately it was kind of wasted. And I think Disney had good intentions with a modern, realistic approach to the story, but by doing so, they kind of took something away from the original story that made it great in the first place. So this wasn't the worst live-action movie, but it wasn't one of the better ones. So I know they poured a lot of money into this movie, but I don't think this is worth the $30 on Disney+. Maybe $15 and $25, but not $30. If you're a die-hard Disney fan, then I say go for it. Otherwise, you might be better off waiting till December. So for all those reasons, and I think I'm being nice about this, I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. Alright, so there's my review of Mulan. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below, and go ahead and give this video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I really don't care. But But if you want to see more movie reviews, go ahead and click the subscribe button right up here. Or if you want to see how I talked about the live action remake of Lion King last year, go ahead and click the video right up here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, and be safe out there.